Amy Zagman, followed by Tricia O'Brien Riley and Brendan Boyle.
Amy Zagman, 985 Pebblebrook Lane. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. Again, I guess I've kind of become a regular. The good thing for you maybe is my voice is not going to hold out tonight. You've all listened so intently over the last several months. I know it's been really difficult at times, and I want to express my appreciation for that. I thought tonight about how to use my 3 minutes and thinking, should I continue to be critical and offer kind of critical advice on the K-8 facilities work and question the process and the data and the language that you have in front of you. And I definitely felt the compelling urge to challenge some of the comments made by other speakers specific to my neighborhood school, or even some of the unfair and untrue characterizations of my neighbors. But then I started thinking the time's come to shift gears and begin embracing this opportunity for change. Very few people got everything they envisioned in this debate. And I think it's really important to start talking about what we want. Unfortunately, we're not going to get what we want. With decreasing state funding and the inability to go to the East Lansing voters, supportive as they may be for operating budget, I think the reality is that you have taken this into consideration and you have thought about it, and I don't think this is an easy choice for you. I think that the time's come that we need to go to the voters with a bond proposal. The people who've chosen to invest in East Lansing as their home need to decide if they want to invest more to make the change that we need to have quality facilities at the elementary and middle school level. Some of us think that our kids deserve those opportunities, and it will fall on us to share pertinent information with community members to see if they agree with us. We've talked a lot about this moment in time with the expiration of the 7 mills that's currently on the property tax bills and the downward movement of our property tax values that would be used to secure the bond. I really do. I've talked to you extensively about elections. I wish there was another option because February is going to be a really, really tough election. But I also appreciate that this has been a really long process. You've come to a decision, and I think that regardless of how many of these forums you hold, at a certain point you don't know until you ask the voters, until we go out and actually find out what the larger community, what will bear. I mean, this is a bond election. This isn't a statement about what we would create ideally for the world with regard to education. Unfortunately, this is a conversation about our infrastructure. And I think that's an unfortunate reality of what we're talking about. I just want to thank you again for your service to the district and for the kids and for all the time that all of you have spent talking to people individually and at these meetings. Thank you.
Okay. Tricia O'Brien Riley will be followed by Brendan Boyle and then Kathleen Boyle. Yes, ma'am.
I live at 1527 Old Mill. Today I was actually rereading everything on the website, and I was actually realizing there's an option for Montessori, and it clicked into me that is incredibly awesome for Red Cedar. Montessori originated in the 1800s in Italy. It's internationally known, and it's acclaimed. It's where children have the opportunity to be in a calm, supportive environment to progress to their standards. It is an awesome option for our school district to have a Montessori school. Okemos has had a Montessori school for years. It's been extremely successful as a public Montessori option. My children went to Montessori when they were very young, but I couldn't afford to keep paying the tuition for 3 children. It's very expensive when it's a private option. We are so lucky that you guys are considering this option, and I urge Red Cedar people to embrace it because I don't know what a better place it could be. It's a few exits away from Okemos. It's a few exits away from Lansing, where the private Montessori school is, and it's a win-win situation for our community. It's an innovation. I will be supporting this school board's decision, and I will also say that I have 20 of my closest friends who I could give you the names this evening, or I can forward them to you, that are also in support of your current option on the table. Not only is that an innovation for Red Cedar, but to make Glen Cairn an international possible school with foreign language in kindergarten is progressive. We are looking at ways to make this school district a more positive, a more innovative school district. I kind of resent the aspect that we're looking at cutting. To me, this is growing. I was on the K through 8 committee. I attended every meeting. I think I've attended every school board meeting. I've been on bus rides. This has been a very, very long process for everybody. I value the school board's extensive fact-finding. I appreciate the fiscal responsibilities that they have in front of them. I recognize the importance of mapping out the largest masses of families that could turn over. In other words, White Hills and Glen Caron has a lot of people in there my age that could turn over for younger families. I support, along with all of my other friends, this school bond option in front of us, and I really commend Rima, Kay, Babs, and Jay for their efforts to push this forward. I am asking for all of you to please pass this tonight. This has been a long process for every single one of you, and our community has wonderful things in front of it. I'll be more than happy to help with this Montessori approach. I've believed in Montessori forever, so if I can help with that with the Red Cedar, I'd love to do it. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Boyle, Mrs. Boyle, Ms. Boyle, and Rishon Butler. Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name is Brendan Boyle. I live at 1256 Scott Drive in the Ivanhoe subdivision. And in a long state public health career and facilitating and moderating meetings, I've sat on the side of the table that you're sitting on. And I know your perspective from there, and I truly do appreciate what you're doing. I live in Ivanhoe. I pay a lot of taxes. I'm not looking forward to paying any less tax because even though I have no children, I don't mind supporting the children of the East Lansing School District. I want them all to have the best opportunity to develop their potentials. I think to let any area in the school district lose a neighborhood school around which neighborhoods oftentimes were largely formed would be viewed as an indication of decline for East Lansing, the East Lansing that I know to be an exemplary place, the best place I've ever lived. You've seen from past meetings that people in our neighborhood are capable of strong opinions. We're also capable of helping you. There's a wealth of creativity in the Red Cedar neighborhood at your disposal. Please don't close any school and give the communities an opportunity to help you.
Thank you. Ms. Boyle, Mr. Butler, and David Zumberg.
Thank you. I'm Kathleen Boyle, and I live at the same house that my husband Brendan lives at. I sat here last week, I spoke also, and listened to all of the wonderful things that the Red Cedar School means. And I looked at the fact that the proposal before the board and actually approved on a 4-3 vote is to close one school and to close that wonderful school. Well, I've lived in East Lansing for 26 years, and I vote in millage elections, and I have been generally in support of school millages. But closing the Red Cedar School will be devastating for our neighborhood, and I think you've heard why we feel that way. So I went home and I reviewed all of the material available through the public school website on the various plans and the pros and the cons of reconfiguring the schools, keeping all of the elementary grammar schools, closing one, closing two. And having read that and looked at that and having to face a millage election, which is part and parcel of this proposal, I had to ask myself, why is the recommendation to close a school? And if a school must be closed, why Red Cedar? And I cannot answer that question based on all of the material I've read. Now, my understanding is, with the change in the agenda tonight, you individually may be able to express your opinions or reasons for closing this very special school, for closing any school, but for closing this very special school. But unless